The guard just knocked on the door, but the crown prince of the empire hurriedly put the bedsheet on the hostess because a lot of strange things happened last night. It's ridiculous that Lixu just coaxed Arnold to sleep like a child. What's more ridiculous is that Lixu actually opened her own neck. It's okay for Arnold to do whatever he wants. And it all starts with the hostess asking Arnold to move into the mansion. The hostess introduced this room to Arnold. The lighting is very good and there will be a comfortable breeze coming in after opening the window. It's very suitable for sleeping. But the man won't come back to rest during the day. What he cares about is that the hostess's room is next door. In this case, the hostess can notice in advance if she wants to do something. The hostess said that she had a leisurely life, so she wouldn't do anything. Of course, at most, just a little thing. The hostess was really convinced. Can you call that a little thing 2 days ago? The hostess was a little guilty and dared to talk about other topics. The hostess promised to compete with herself at the banquet before, so she hoped that the hostess would not break her promise. Use the special training method of the hostess. And the guard knights. The hostess's special training method is to hold her hands and feet. This is more in line with the conditions on the battlefield. If the back of the hand is cut off, it can continue to swing. If the back of the foot is interrupted, it can continue to move forward. Even if the eyes are closed, it can also kill the enemy to the last moment. This is the only way to increase the chance of survival. The hostess finally understood why she couldn't beat the hostess. But now the hostess can only use one hand. The hostess said that if she won, the hostess would have to answer her own questions. On the contrary, if she lost, she would fulfill any wish of the hostess. The hostess confidently agreed. Next, she was ready to fight. The hostess's physical strength is obviously not enough in this matter, so she had to fight quickly. But no matter how she fought, the hostess could easily take it down. The hostess realized that she could only use one hand, so the center of gravity was unstable. She had to correct the center of gravity first. But even after adjusting the center of gravity, the hostess could still easily respond. By the way, she knew that the hostess's footsteps should match the attack, and she should take advantage of her light body to get closer. As the battle went on, the hostess was no match for the hostess, and she consumed a lot of energy. Although the hostess's attack was very awkward. In the eyes of the guards on the side, the hostess's attack became very sharp. This simply refreshed their perception. At this time, the hostess used the same move as the hostess in the previous life. The hostess, who was worried about this move, immediately reacted. Khan dodged over. The hostess was a little surprised, and the next move, the hostess already knew. As expected, the hostess fought from above, so the hostess dodged again. But even if she knew the hostess's move, her body couldn't keep up with the reaction because she had no energy left. Although the hostess lost in the end, the hostess thought that the hostess was very good. After all, she was going to stay still for one step. The two praised each other. The hostess began to untie the shackles for the hostess. By the way, she mentioned that the hostess had just promised herself that she could fulfill her wish. The hostess asked her to mention it. The hostess asked the hostess to go to the town with her the day after tomorrow. As for what the hostess would do, she would tell her later. The hostess asked the hostess why she didn't stand up yet. The hostess was a little embarrassed. She asked the hostess to leave first. She wanted to stay here for a while. The hostess asked her why. The hostess said that she had just used up her energy, so she just needed to take a break. Then the hostess began to think. She said that she was wearing gloves now. It shouldn't be considered touching the hostess. Then she hugged the hostess. The hostess asked the hostess what she wanted to ask the hostess. The next morning, the hostess saw the knights in the office and asked where the hostess was. The guard said that the hostess was on guard all night last night, so she didn't sleep all night. She was still busy working, so the hostess came to persuade the hostess to sleep. But the hostess didn't want to sleep at all. After all, there were a lot of people in the castle during the day. There was no way to sleep in the noise, so the hostess came up with a good idea. After pulling the curtain, the hostess sat by the hostess's bed and let the hostess sleep in peace. The hostess also lied down obediently. The hostess quietly looked at her, but after a while, the hostess sighed. It seems that the hostess still can't sleep. The hostess thought about it and lied next to the hostess. She gently patted the hostess's body. The hostess was a little confused about what the hostess was doing. The hostess said that this is a rhythm to simulate the heartbeat. It is a way to calm the mood. When the hostess was a servant in her previous life, she just coaxed the hostess to sleep like this. The hostess continued to pat her like this, but her eyes were attracted by the hostess's scars. She suddenly wanted to touch her. The hostess also opened her mouth at this time, indicating that the hostess touched her casually. So the hostess started to touch her, but it was a little itchy. So the hostess stopped her. The hostess apologized in a hurry. The hostess said that if she had known this earlier, she would have worn gloves. Then she could touch herself. When she heard this, the hostess blushed. It means that you can't touch it casually even if you wear gloves. After all, if you change your hands to something else, it's not good. Of course, the hostess just joked with her. Then she lied down again. After a fight of thoughts, the hostess felt that it was not good to bully an honest person like the hostess, so she bit her teeth and untied the bandage directly. It was very late in the afternoon. The hostess woke up and looked at the host next to her. The hostess didn't react for a while. She screamed and asked the hostess why she was here. The hostess said that she had climbed to the bed by herself. Did she forget? The hostess felt very shy. She hurriedly said goodbye to the hostess and was ready to leave. Suddenly, the hostess picked up the bedsheet and put it on her. The next second, the doorbell rang. It turned out to be the guard. The guard didn't expect that the hostess was sleeping, so he hurriedly reported the situation. The hostess kept touching the hostess's head with the bed sheet. Soon, the guard left after reporting. In that strange atmosphere, the hostess, who had been touched for so long, was even more shy. The hostess asked her to get out of the bedsheet, but she didn't dare to come out. The hostess just smiled slightly. Finally, she returned to her room. The manager said that a package was sent by the Area Chamber of Commerce. When she opened it, it turned out to be a piece of wig, and the role of this wig is, of course, to do something.